Unfortunately, Peter, another month, another crisis, it would seem. Christchurch kind of joining the list.
Crisis. One of the great things is the extent to which the international community has got behind the Christchurch relief effort, including, of course, Australian teams. I guess what's starting to be worried about now is whether, in fact, you're going to get compassion or giving fatigue because of the sheer relentlessness of these crises. Two different arguments here. One is people will give to these big media crises, but then not give during the course of the year to the charities they normally give to. There's another view, though.
Are you seeing evidence of that? Because we did chat about that last month in the program.
No,
when do you see it? How do you know
Red Cross and Salvos working on the front in Christchurch still say plenty of empathy there. But, of course, we won't know until the end of the year what's happening on the other giving, and that's something we're going to have to monitor.
Does that get monitored through ATO statistics, or how do you actually kind of gauge
you can look at some of the ATO statistics. It's a partial record, but it will give us an idea about whether, in fact, giving through the tax office is actually decreased over the course of the year.
Also, in terms of the Christchurch disaster there and the giving, what do we know of what Australians are actually giving to that crisis?
Well, obviously, some of them can actually turn up, the relief teams, the medical teams, rescue teams. Most people, of course, can only give financially. What's really interesting in this is the increased importance of online giving. And it is extraordinary. There's a report just come out in the United States looking at online giving. It's called the Blackboard Survey. And it looks at a whole lot of American companies, not-for-profits. What it's found is about 7.5% of donations are now raised online, about 15% for the NGOs. What's interesting, if you look at 2010 compared with the year before, online giving's gone up 35%. It's almost becoming the choice now for many people in terms of how they give.
So there's obviously a value there for social media for fundraising. It's a bit harder to be a volunteer when it comes to online, though, isn't it? It's kind of strange.
And yet I always thought, well, you can't really volunteer online. You can give online. But in fact, there's a survey just been taking place in Australia because there's going to be Commonwealth government's going to put out a report in the middle of the year, done a survey of volunteers. What it found was 43% of them said, look, we would like to volunteer much more online. And if you think about it, you're living a busy life. One of the times actually you can volunteer is contributing to a project online on an evening or over the weekend when you're home. It's a quite new way of volunteering, I think.
It seems like there might be a bit of an online theme already developing in today's shows, in fact, in today's news. So let's stay with that, because on the Business Channel, we've been looking a lot at the large Australian retailers and how they've been trying to respond to what they, in some senses, perceive as a threat from online. We've also debated their attempts to seek protection from what they see as the unfair competition from a tax perspective. Charities and social businesses, they're also having to adapt, but Peter, a lot of them are actually really embracing the online trend as well.
Well, this again is fascinating. You see all the major national retailers worried about, online competition. I suspect you, not so long ago, and me a long time ago, occasionally would go and shop at the Salvos thrift shop, and pick up clothes. I still go and buy books there. But what is interesting is that they themselves are now starting to go online. So the Salvos, about 6 weeks ago, have now got an online retail presence. I was going to say they're the first. I've discovered actually they're not the first, because Mission Australia, who recycle office furniture, you can also go and buy office furniture online. So they're right out there at the cutting edge, I think.
All right, two final news items for today's show. First, the federal government's announced funding of $6 million to 5 community finance organisations. This pilot's going to be supporting community-based financial institutions to provide loans to individuals and to organisations which are generally excluded from mainstream banks. And the second, last bit of news,
$6 million go there. And, of course, I attended the Macquarie Group Foundation Social Innovation Awards, $100,000 award, went to the School for Social Entrepreneurs. The interesting thing is we've got the UK School for Social Entrepreneurs head, Alastair Wilson, coming on a program next month, I think.
Excellent. We'll look forward to that one.